They see your beauty, so frail and fine. They see your peace, woven of faith and toil. They forget your heart, bound in slumber and servitude. When you wake, they shall see your truth, a beast's nature, bare to all. This is Pharloom's Folly, and this is how Hollow Knight Silksong will start. It's the first thing we will see. My plan for today is to make a literary analysis of this poem and maybe find some dark hidden secrets in these 5 lines. And afterwards, if you bear with me through until the end, I'm also just going to give you a few updates about this channel and myself, so bear with me if you want to. Now, of course, if you have played the original Hollow Knight, you will remember that the original Hollow Knight also starts with a poem, but in Hollow Knight it's called Elegy for Hellenest and was written by Monomon the Teacher, while here it's called Pharloom's Folly and written by Conductor Romino. There are a lot of parallels in this poem, but I also think that there are 1 or 2 significant things which differ a bit, and we're going to go into those details. So let's first start with the first 3 lines of this poem. Okay, so I'm not going to go over the, for example, alliterations we find in this poem, but I'm going to do an interpretation of everything we see. So the first 2 lines: they see your beauty, so frail and fine. They see your peace, woven of faith and toil. This is interesting. This beauty, frail and fine, and in the background we have some silk. And I think these things are connected, so I do think that whatever this creature is supposed to be, which Pharloom's Folly is directed at, it has also to do with the silk we will see in Silksong, which shouldn't surprise anyone really. They see your peace, woven of faith and toil. Also, of course, backs my previous statement, so I think these are 2 nods to the silk we will see in the game. This is, the 3rd line I think, is the part where this poem takes a turn. So, if we would go by Shakespeare, we would call it a Volta. Sorry, I'm studying English, I kinda have to use my knowledge somewhere, okay? It's not like my... Oh fuck. It's not like it's going to get me anything in the real world. So yeah. In the first 2 lines, they see the beauty, they see the peace, but in the 3rd line they forget the heart, bound in slumber and servitude. Now what could that mean? I think they could be Pharloom's citizens. They live in a world, frail and fine, beautiful. They know, or some of them know, that this peace that they had in one point isn't something they should take for granted, but they forget why actually this peace came to be. They forget whoever the person this poem is directed at is, the bug who sacrificed him or herself for slumber and servitude. And this is kind of a thing where I think Conductor Romino seems a bit angry, especially if we take a look at the next 2 lines. But I think this is an interesting difference to the Elegy for Hellenest, because the Elegy for Hellenest actually isn't that complicated. It's quite straightforward. It's just about the Pale King, mostly. I mean, it's a good poem. It's a great poem. I actually really love it. And if we didn't have the information we have about Hollow Knight, which is the entire game, this poem would also be very nice for a literary analysis and interpretation or something. But it's just a one-way street, I think. It's just about the Pale King and the different things he did and the different ways in which the other bugs look at him. But another parallel is that most bugs have forgotten whoever once ruled the kingdom, or whoever is the one in servitude, which is kind of similar to the Pale King, who is also kind of forgotten by most of the lower bugs. And now we're going to take a look at the last two lines. When you wake, they shall see your truth, a beast's nature bare to all. Now this is interesting because it kind of makes sense when you think about it. When you wake, they shall see your truth. It means that the bug in slumber and servitude is about to wake up, which you can clearly tell from the poem at some point, and this will make all of the people or the bugs Romino refers to as they see a beast's nature bare to all. So what I can tell is, if this bug wakes up, shit is going to go down, bad shit for all of those citizens of Hellenest. This is where the poem gets a bit scary in my opinion, because this beast's nature bare to all is this bug's truth. It's really how they are. So when he says in the third line, they forget your heart, it's probably not meant in a good way, not like a loving heart, but maybe a heart that now seeks for revenge for being forgotten. And of course, we can't talk about the last line of the poem, a beast's nature bare to all, without focusing on the beast's part. Because who do we know is a beast? Hera the beast from the original Hollow Knight. Now of course, this is hard because it can't be Hera, right? I mean, she kinda died in the original Hollow Knight and was already in slumber and servitude in the original Hollow Knight, so I think this is a weird parallel because it's just so similar. So who is this directed at? I think it must be another weaver. Maybe like the king of weavers? I mean, if Hera is kinda the queen of them, there's got to be a king, right? And maybe this king left at some point to leave Hera and Hornet. Hornet is Hera's and the Pale King's daughter, alone. And it would be kind of ironic if both of them, Hera and this king, would meet the same fate. But it is a possibility, because Beast has to refer to a weaver, because of the silk in the background, woven of faith and toil, and the beast's nature. And now, this is where it gets interesting, because we see Hornet is captured at the beginning of the game. So why is it captured? I'm sorry, why is she captured? Well, I think it's because she is the next one to be bound in slumber and servitude. Because this first one woke up and they saw the truth. They felt the beast's nature and everything went to shit. And now someone with the knowledge of how this kingdom works gets Hornet and wants her to take the place of the bug that came before her. Now of course this is really far-fetched, but the only one we do know right now that could be this bug is Conductor Romino. Which kind of gets me to Conductor Romino himself, because in my last video we talked about him a bit, and with we I mean my friend Deep Talk Proletarian and I, and we agree on many parts that he's one of the smarter people in Pharloom, probably similar to Monomon or to the people of the Soul Sanctum. Deep Talk thought or thinks this poem comes from a place of desperation, which is a good theory, and I do not want to say that this theory is wrong, because it is very likely that this is actually true. But I think it's It would be even weirder and more interesting if this would come from a place of anger and wrath. Because if we take a look at this poem, it could also mean that he is really, really mad at the people at the citizens of Pharloom for forgetting the sacrifice that was made to get peace in the land. The beast's nature bare to all could also mean that he is kind of watching with a smirk on his face as all of these people around him go down because they forgot the heart of the sacrifice. The only thing why I think that could be true is because of the meaning of Pharloom's folly. Because folly means, let me check, so folly means lack of sense and foolishness. So of course, this is directed at the citizens. And then do not mean the whole poem is, because the poem is neither directed to Pharloom as a whole, nor Pharloom citizens. It is directed at the sacrifice. I think this is pretty clear because we see you so often, your heart, your peace, your beauty. You wake, they shall see your truth. And they, the parts where we see they, is about Pharloom citizens. So I do think that Conductor Romino could maybe be the one who kind of led the first sacrifice, made it came to be, and who also is now behind getting Hornet to be the second sacrifice. This is only because we do not have other options at the moment, which of course we will get other options. So this is a far-fetched, this is where this gets far-fetched. And B, because Conductor Romino, he is the conductor, he is the one in control of this orchestra of Pharloom, if we want to call it that. If I think about an orchestra and music in general, the conductor is the one in charge, it's the one who makes the orders, it's the one who plays and directs the other people like puppets on a string. Like puppets on silk strings, if you want. And I think this could be an interesting thought, that Conductor Romino is kind of behind at least some of the things that happened here, something about the sacrifice, because we do know that he knows about it. And if we talk about who knew about Hollow Knight's Black Vault and all of its secrets, there aren't a lot of bugs, so Conductor Romino is A, the only bug we know who knows about it, and B, even if we get 6 or 7 other bugs who know about it, he is still quite a likely person to have a more active role in this. Now, another thing I want to talk about is Weaver. I'm just going to call him Weaver and not Weaver King, because this is just another far-fetched theory, it could just be a special Weaver. It's woken up, right? And at this time, it is still awake. So where in Pharloom is it and what is it doing? Is it similar to the Radiance? Because we know Pharloom is cursed, and I think this is because the Weaver woke up and cursed the people. So this is another parallel between Hollow Knight and Silksong, so that the people are cursed. But what is it doing? It's not in slumber, right? So it's not like the Radiance, who kind of is inside the Hollow Knight and kind of chills. I mean, he's not chilling, but he's like, because the infection is spreading and fucking everything up, but he's not moving around really in his physical form, and I think a Weaver is way more fitted to just go about his business in Pharloom. So I think that whoever this Weaver is might be a boss in the game, or maybe even the end boss, similar to Hollow Knight, where the Radiance, who is also behind the curse, or the plague, is the final boss. Since he is not bound anywhere, he could be anywhere, really. Yeah, I do think that was it. I think I've said my 2 cents about this poem, and yeah, I'm just going to ramble on about some of the stuff now. I want to mention like 3 or 4 things. So first of all, I've got a few more videos planned. I hope I can get them all done today, so I can cut them in the next coming days and actually have somewhat of an uploading schedule for the next weeks. If, for example, Nintendo makes a new direct in a few days or so, I hope that by that time I am at home, because I'm also going on vacation sometime in February, and yeah, just hope I'll be there to record it, because last time it's really been fun, I think, to make a live stream. And yeah, we've just hit 300 subscribers, I think. I'm excited to see if it stays that way, but either way, thank you for that, I really appreciate it. And even although I only upload so infrequently, this channel is growing and it's getting views and so much nice feedback, and I really enjoy that. Yeah, if you want to see a special video or have some suggestions, then just leave them in the comments below. And also, don't forget to join the Discord server, which is always linked in the description. And also, if you have too much money, you can check out the Patreon, which I haven't really made that much of a fuss about, but I'm just going to mention it now again. The Patreon is linked in the description, you can check it out if you want, there's a lot of stuff there. Yeah, what else? Yeah, because in the last weeks I've had a bit of a stressy time, and another stressy time is coming up, so I'm about to actually do as much as possible right now, so I can then focus on studying again for university. It's incredible fun to make this video, so I hope you really like it, although it's of course really far-fetched, but this is kind of what it's about, right? Because we do not know when this game is coming out. We do know it's coming out soon, it's coming out 2020, but until then we can only speculate, and I think it's fun. And I hope you also think it's fun. And yeah, I've rambled on about this for far too long now. I wanted to make this a 5-minute video, now it's about probably 15 minutes, but yeah. I'll just see you around, I think. So, take care, my fellow higher beings.